This forecast update effective around 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Tuesday, December 10th, 2013. And for those of you who missed yesterday's little pop-up swell, don't feel like the lone stranger. We missed it too. But if you follow us on Facebook and Twitter, you know we posted yesterday morning showing you that the buoys had in fact come up and there was swell in the water. We thought it would hold through to today, but we also mentioned that there was a possibility that the southerly suck-up could actually kill the swell, and it looks like, looking at the morning reports this morning, that in fact it has done that. But we wanted to show you how this little swell came about. We saw on Facebook lots of people posting that, they didn't believe that there was waves yesterday. But if you remember, we were posting about 90L invest. That was right at the end of November during the last stretch of hurricane season. And as that moved off towards the Azores, another area of low pressure formed up well northeast of the islands. And both of those areas of low pressure produced a predominant northeast groundswell. Well, we then had high pressure move out here in the Atlantic near Bermuda, and that clockwise flow of that high pressure reached out there and grabbed that northeast groundswell and rotated it in past the islands, Puerto Rico and Hispaniola, and then towards the East Florida coast. Now, that was one of the reasons why we were watching the Northeast Bahama buoy. And again, that buoy showed a significant, well, not a significant increase, but a substantial increase in a 24-hour period. And that's where that swell came from. So just wanted to show you that, or talk to you about that, so that next time you'll know how to look for a little pop-up swell. Wanted to bring your attention down in here towards the Caribbean. Now, the last night's run of the GFS is suggesting we're going to see this same pattern set up, but I want you to notice this area of convection in here that is just east of the tip of the Yucatan Peninsula, and notice this kind of counterclockwise flow setting up in here. The front is now pushing in on the northwest Gulf of Mexico. We've got northerly winds starting to crank up now, 25 to 30 knots off the coast of Texas. This is going to push down in here towards the Bay of Campeche as the front begins to push through. Going to get a general northerly flow over the Gulf of Mexico. But I just wanted to point that out to you. You'll see that when we show it to you in the models. So here's last night's run of the GFS. Going to start you off on Wednesday. Tomorrow, we're going to return to a northerly flow off the eastern seaboard. Winds starting out of the north, 15 to 20 knots, possible to gale force just to the east of New York and the mid-Atlantic. That northeast flow is going to push in here with the high pressure into North Florida. When we get into Thursday, it still kind of relaxes. We're still on onshore flow, a northeast flow in through the Gulf of Mexico. And when we get into Friday, here's where things get a little interesting. As high pressure starts to build in towards the mid-Atlantic, we have a stronger northerly flow setting up off the mid-Atlantic and then down in here towards East Florida. This is going to set up a possible fun little surf alert come on Sunday. I was laughing to myself a few minutes ago because I'm going to end up going to the Jaguar-Buffalo game, looks like, and it's typical that Jaguar home game, while you're at the game, there's fun surf at the beach, and you miss out on that, and then typically end up combining it with a Jaguar loss. We'll have to see if that plays out this weekend. But when we get into Saturday, you'll see that the winds rotate. High pressure moves out towards Bermuda again. Winds rotate out of the east-southeast over the Atlantic, and a southeast flow returning into the Gulf of Mexico. But look what happens when we get into Sunday. An area of low pressure now moves up towards the mid-Atlantic and turns the wind flow out of the south-southwest as we're on the south side of the area of low pressure. You can see that a deep easterly flow set up out here east of the islands coming up towards Puerto Rico and then switching to a more southeast, south, and then southwest flow. This is where the cleanup might happen for East Florida on Sunday, so stay tuned for the forecast on that. But when we get into Monday, we return to that northerly flow again and increasing larger surf as areas of low pressure are forecast to be along the front as the front stalls out past South Florida. So this could set up in here some nice groundswell for the islands, and looks like it could be their next swell event. This is December 16th, Monday. When we switch it over to Tuesday, you can see that high pressure now becomes elongated along the coast. We get a longer northeast fetch coming down in here to Florida, but look what happens. Area of low pressures along the front in here could end up pinching the gradient along the East Florida coast, and we could see by next Tuesday winds out of the east-northeast at around 20 to 25 knots, possible gusts to 30. And then when we look in here towards the east of the tip of the Yucatan Peninsula, in here towards the Gulf of Honduras, we see an area of low pressure that the GFS is trying to spin up in here. Clear because this is the first time that we're seeing it in the model, but we could see the next front that would be forecast to approach moving through Texas on this date, come in here and lift it up to the north into the Gulf of Mexico and then off towards the north and northeast. That's been the typical pattern. So we'll have to just wait to see on that, but it looks like we're going to get in a pattern of some more increasing surf coming. I hope you stay tuned to the forecast as we update you as this system possibly unfolds. Stay tuned for the next update.